Deborah, do you think that mental toughness sets you apart from the rest?
Definitely. I definitely do. It's a great topic, right?
It definitely is, and that is what we're going to be discussing today. Bouncing the ball off the wall about mental toughness. And before we do that, I want to remind attendees to type your questions in the chat and we will address them at the end. Deborah, this week I heard someone say to me that tough people or are aggressive, that people that are mentally tough are hard people, aggressive people. And that is so not true. I know many people who are mentally tough, who are some of the quietest people. Would you agree?
Definitely, I would agree. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do. I'm not having the correlation there with being aggressive.
True. I want to dive straight into this program by asking Deborah, how much power of achievement do you think is divided between the tangible and intangible? For example, the genius for tangible and determination in the intangible category. Let me share the PowerPoint slide with you. There we are. The percentage of achievement due to skill, genius, and intelligence versus achievement due to mental toughness, confidence, commitment, focus, tenacity, resilience, and determination. What do you think the dividing line is?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I mean, if we go into Pareto's rule, I would say, look, the tangible is the lesser amount, significantly lesser amount. I would say 20% or less. And I would say the intangibles, which is the confidence, the focus, the tenacity, that is the 80% or more or higher, is what I would refer to it as.
Very close. It's 30, 70%. And of course, this division is it's very subjective.
Yeah.
It's not objective. There's no right or wrong answer. You know, mental toughness enables us to manage stress, pressure, challenges, and the chaos of life, especially today, where things are becoming, it appears, more chaotic than ever. And the mentally tough people thrive because they seem to be able to breeze through these tough times and remain optimistic. Basically, the better we can handle stress and pleasure, the more likely we are to enjoy life.
I would agree. I think that that is the defining marker of how we enjoy life, which is the ability to manage your emotions and to recognize when you actually are under stress. Because a lot of people are stressed and they're overwhelmed, but they don't even know it. They don't have that awareness within themselves, within their own mind or their body, to know that, wow, this is affecting me, this situation, or the way that I'm thinking about it is affecting me in a very negative way, and that there is a different way, there is a different path that could be chosen to experience life in a more pleasing way.
You know, it's very interesting that you said that because clearly we get caught up in ourselves. We become too self-centered, and then we lose focus and we don't realize that we are mentally weak, that we are stressed and we're not being able to cope until someone comes along and reminds us, brings us to the attention that we need to do something about how we are feeling mentally. So we need somebody to remind us.
You mentioned something really interesting. You talked about the mental weakness. And I mean, really, we're talking about mental fitness, just like we would refer to physical fitness, as you were talking about earlier. So the two have a very important correlation. And if you feel that you are not managing, our audience members, if you feel that you are not managing your situation, your experience, your environment very well, you're not navigating it with real joy and ease and happiness, you're pushing too hard. And that means that you are actually mentally weak, which means that you have to improve your mental fitness. That becomes really the next step that is necessary to move forward.
Yes. And when we don't cope well with stress, then we crack.
Yes.
However, there are ways that we are able to prevent ourselves from cracking under pressure. There are many ways, and I've selected four that we can touch on, which I think are the more pertinent ones that we should be aware of. I like to share ideas on these. Let's see, the first one that we have, I call them the four aspects of becoming mentally tough. And the first one is control. It's the extent to which you feel you are in control of your life, which includes being able to manage your own emotions and not being affected by everyone else's emotions around you. I think we need to be able to create a picture in our minds of what our objectives are. I think it's very important to know or recognize the things that we are able to control and focus on those, and not focus on external events which we know we cannot control, which are out of the way we can see them properly and clearly. What do you say, Deborah?
Yeah, absolutely. The control part of it, of being able to manage emotions, which starts, of course, with the thought process, really managing what are those images that we have in our head? What are the thought processes that we have in our head? What are the emotions that are coming from those thoughts or contributing to those thoughts that are either elevating us, moving us forward in a positive way, making us feel really good, or the ones that are pulling us backwards and dragging us down and making the or presenting the situation as if it is hard or difficult. And so we can look at one thing that we can talk about from the control standpoint is the perception that we have inside of whether we have a fixed mindset or whether we have a growth mindset. And so when we're thinking about the fixed mindset, when people feel that they're stuck and they can't navigate out of a situation easily, or through a situation easily, we're looking at being overwhelmed by how we're sabotaged inside, whether we're feeling that we are exemplifying maybe a hyperachievement process, or we're hyper vigilant, or we're too much of a pleaser, or we're trying to be too much of a controller. I mean, we're not using the term control in this discussion as a saboteur. However, if we're trying to control too much of a situation and not allowing the process to go forward with more ease and flow, we're sabotaging ourselves. And that is the opposite to that, is the growth mindset, where we have all these possibilities that are available to us, but they're not available until we first recognize that they could be available to us by thinking differently, feeling differently, creating a different state in our body, looking at the gifts, looking at the opportunities that are around us. We can only do that by leveraging a certain part of the brain where the sage lives, with the creative part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, by thinking in a positive way.
You're right. It's very important to have a comfortable balance of emotional control, because then that way we are able to be proactive. When we lose control, then immediately we become reactive. We react to everything happening around us. And that leads me straight into the next point, which is committing ourselves to a goal.
And the commitment to the goal is that is a mindset piece where you have the commitment which is the drive, the resolve, the, when I say push, I'm not talking about pushing hard, but it's what you referred to earlier in the earlier slide, the tenacity to move forward, the devotion to move forward. And that is the growth part. If you have a goal, something that is a worthy goal, that is worth your time and your effort and your energy, that will add value to your life and add value to other people's lives, that's a great thing to be committed to, where you hold your feet to the fire, essentially. And it does require initially some mental toughness. However, if we're using the sage part of the brain when we enhance our mental fitness, where we're using different parts of the brain, that process of being committed, that resolve and holding ourselves to the goal is easy. It is not a difficult process. It just is an easy step-by-step process as you're moving forward. And you're doing it with joy.
You're right. To be committed, we need to have a goal, and it's only when we have a goal that we are able to be proactive. Because without a goal, we're all over the place and we're reacting to everything which is happening to us. Once we have a goal, then we're able to plan, and once we have a plan, then we're in a position to take action, to execute the plan. And of course, very important, during the execution, we need to stay focused, not be wandering all over the place.
And that is a key too when you're developing your mental fitness, Moreno, is the ability to focus on something is an example of mental toughness and mental resiliency, which that only comes when you're developing certain parts of the brain to be able to hold that focus for a sustained period of time.
You've raised an important point, staying focused on one point for a duration of time. And it is during this time that some people may perceive challenges as either threats or problems, or challenges as opportunities, which is this third point, our perception of challenges. And this is very important, because if we are mentally weak, then we see challenges as potential problems, uncertainties, places where we have not been before, where there may be obstacles, pitfalls. However, the mentally strong will see these changes in plans as opportunities for doing things differently. And people look for things that they haven't thought of before, doing things in a way which is more creative, more innovative, and may produce better results than initially anticipated. What do you think, Deborah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the perception that we have about those challenges is one of the key factors of the mental fitness. So, look, the challenges, the problems, they're never going to go away. They're always going to be there. It's how you approach those challenges that are really going to be making the difference, as you were saying. So, if we are embracing the challenges as an opportunity to grow and learn and to challenge ourselves, to consider it like almost like we're competing with ourselves, going, I can do this. This is an effort. I'm learning something new. There's an opportunity for me to grow and learn. So we're taking and extrapolating out of that the gifts and opportunities that are possible for us. However, if we're thinking, hey, another challenge, another problem, this is hard, this is difficult, what happens is we're shutting down the key parts of our brain that are going to allow us to solve that really quickly and to be able to come through and navigate that challenge with a little bit more grace. So the perception that we have about every event that takes place around us is really a key part of moving forward in a very positive mindset, and will determine how quickly you move forward. So the perception that we need to have is, number one, is embracing and taking on the challenges, but doing it with like excitement and curiosity, rather than doing it with fear and frustration. That makes a huge difference in being able to navigate it with real excitement in the possibilities of what can come out of it. Because we all know that there's, significantly more than one way to solve a problem or a challenge. It's really how you move through it, and really, it all starts with your perception. If you can look at it as going, well, this is an opportunity for us to learn a lesson, to explore a different area, that makes the difference in us as an individual growing, and also how the team moves forward in a company, or how an organization moves forward.
You use those important words, mindset and perception, repeatedly. It's important which side, which end of perception we choose. And the side that we choose is determined by this last point, which I put up: self-confidence.
Sure.
People who show self-confidence, who are self-assured, they choose the positive side. They look for opportunities. Whereas on the other side, people who don't have self-confidence, they immediately see difficulties, problems ahead. And that is one of the important reasons why we need to be self-confident. The other reason is that people judge us immediately on how self-confident we are, and then react towards us depending on how they perceive us. So if they see us as people who are self-confident, they'll behave in a positive way towards us. Whereas if we don't exhibit self-confidence, then they think that we are perhaps untrustworthy, people that we don't believe in. And it's also important to have interpersonal confidence, meaning when we are with other people, we need to exhibit that confidence when communicating with others.
You know, people do struggle. I mean, people do struggle with getting seen and getting heard. They struggle with the idea of, look, I want to be noticed, I want to be acknowledged, and I want to be appreciated. I want people to really know me and really understand me. So when you're talking about self-confidence, how I like to interpret that is, this self-confidence is a certainty in who you are as a person, knowing who you are, your values and your character, trusting yourself, having faith in yourself as a human being, that you can move through challenges or move through life, and to be curious and explore life. And so I usually equate the self confidence with a measure of certainty. That people are certain about who they are, they know who they are, and they know what they stand for. They know what their life experiences are. They know what their negative experiences are that they've pulled and extrapolated the gifts and opportunities out of, and the lessons of life. At the same time, that level of certainty defines that I have an opinion and I have a point of view, and I'm going to express that point of view. And but you're doing it with the intention of, when I talk about self-confidence, it's not an arrogant self-confidence. It's one that's based on real humility and real vulnerability and authenticity from a positive point of view, where you have this intention to serve. You're giving value to other people. You're helping people and supporting people, knowing that you as a human being, you're here on earth. I mean, everybody has a different reason why they feel that they're here on earth. Like, who are you, and why are you here? What's your purpose, your life purpose? And the self-confidence comes from knowing, how is it that you're showing up, and why are you here, and why are you showing up? And you have different reasons than I do. I mean, they're probably pretty close, but I have a point of view of, my confidence comes from wanting to serve and to help other people. If I've gone through challenges, Moreno, in life, I want to know that I can take those lessons and help other people navigate some of the difficulties and challenges that they have. And I think there's real value in life in general, that we're here to put an arm around another person and to help another person walk a path that is a very difficult path for some people. Some people move through life very easily. Again, that's a mindset point of view. But others walk through life feeling uncomfortable, feeling challenged, or they're experiencing extreme difficulties or abuses or being bullied, or they're going through war-torn countries. And the idea of trusting who you are and knowing that, the whole book, The Man's Search for Meaning, is that attitude that we have in life that someone needs to hear my story, that I have something of value to share, but trusting in yourself that you can, however long your life is, you're going to pursue life with great joy.
Earlier on, you mentioned excessive self-confidence, which equates to arrogance. Yes. And that is not the way we want to go. Have you noticed, Deborah, that the fourth point is self-confidence, and it's really the output, the end result of the first 3 points that we covered, that when we manage to control our emotions and set ourselves goals which we can plan for, execute, and then manage how we perceive obstacles and difficulties as opportunities, ways of doing things differently. Because with whatever we do, there are always difficulties, there are always challenges. Plans never turn out exactly as planned. So we need to anticipate changes, and when these changes do happen, we need to embrace them as ways of doing things differently, exploring things. And that way we manage to develop self-confidence, the end output.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautifully said, Moreno. I mean, that end result of the self-confidence allows now, it opens up a lot of doors for us. And when we have increased self-confidence, knowing that we've done all those other things in the past, that increases our confidence. But now with that increased self-confidence, we can move forward more quickly with less effort. So we don't have to put in the hard work. It becomes a lot of a lot easier process that we're moving through. And that element of trust and faith in ourselves, that self-confidence point of view is, now we have greater hope in terms of how things are going to turn out. We're leading towards a more of a, this is inevitably going to happen for us. It's definitely going to happen. The goals that we have, it's going to happen. So that increased faith is going to give us that momentum to move forward much quicker.
It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
It's a slow process. However, it's important to recognize where we are, what needs to be done, and where we want to be. Someone needs to help us. It'll be easier when we do this with someone else, when we have a guide, a mentor who can show us the way. Very often we think we know it all, but we don't. And it always helps to be learning. I've put up a slide here which summarizes what we said today. If we better manage the stress and the pressure of life as a confident, committed, focused, and determined person, imagine what you can achieve by developing mental toughness. And one place to start is to recognize our level of mental toughness at the moment, the fact that we can improve it. There's no end to it. It's a continuous process. We just get better and better. And the only way to do it, Deborah, is to do it, take action, recognize mental toughness for what it is, that we can benefit from it, that we can build onto it. There are ways to do it. We just need to discover learn what they are and take action, because if we don't do anything, nothing is going to happen. We will
Yeah,
stay where we are.
I agree on that. And here's the thing is that when you say we've just got to be able to do it, here's the interesting thing is that whatever the audience is choosing to move forward in life with, whether they want to improve their finances, they want to improve their business, they want to get promoted into a career, they want better health, they want better fitness, they want to be able to develop a more loving relationship in their family or find the love of their life, whatever the goal is, whether they want to speak on stage, whether they want to write a book, whatever the project is, whatever the life goal is it starts first, and you'll be able to navigate through the entire process so much easier when you do develop that mental fitness component. People think, well, I got to do this first and then I can do something else. It's like, no, start with the mental fitness while you're doing it. Then it becomes so much easier to navigate through everything that you have to handle. So people sometimes get mixed up going, I should do this first versus this. It's like, no, mindset, the mental fitness component makes every aspect, and I mean every aspect of your life, so much easier.
Because mental fitness and mental toughness is intangible and perhaps difficult for some people to clearly understand. We need to recognize that there's a clear one-to-one correlation between physical fitness and mental fitness. Physical fitness is very tangible and easy to understand. We've been doing it all our lives. We see others do it clearly. Because there's a one-to-one correlation, we can think of mental fitness, mental strength, in the same terms as physical strength and fitness. That's one way to get around any confusion that there may be with developing one's mental abilities. Deborah, we're reaching the end of our program this morning. Is there something that you want to share with our listeners?
I do want to share with the audience an opportunity for them to become part of the Mastering Mental Fitness 8-week intensive. And this is an opportunity for you to completely change your life in the most beautiful and the most positive way possible. So I'm inviting the audience to participate in this. We're going to have an opportunity for them to share information. And I'm just finding a little bit of an issue getting into the comment chat to put it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into the private chat, Moreno, because for
Yes.
some reason I am not seeing the box where it's in. It doesn't show up for me in the comment
I've
section.
received it, and
Okay.
I'm now posting it in the comments section.
So this opportunity for improving and mastering your mental fitness is it is an intensive that will allow the audience to, while they're busy, to experience more even flow through the process. And Moreno's gone through the program. I have gone through the program. I am a certified mental fitness instructor. And so, what I want to be able to do is invite you to change your life and have the most positive, the most beautiful experience possible. We guarantee the process. It will actually elevate you in so many areas of your life that you will not be able to stop smiling.
Thank you, Deborah, and everyone. To your continued mental health and success. Goodbye until we see you next time.
Bye, everyone.